Elsa, a dedicated cleaner, raised her granddaughter with love and care, sacrificing herself to ensure a promising future for her. The graduation day represented the pinnacle of this journey, but an unforeseen event left Elsa barefoot on her way to the event. Upon her arrival, laughter and mockery filled the room, until her granddaughter, faced with the humiliating situation, performed a surprising gesture that left everyone astonished. Hello, my friends. I am Linda, and this is the Linda's Stories channel. I hope you enjoy this story. Elsa observed with a mix of nostalgia and reflection as the raindrops danced on the window pane, painting a grey tableau outside. Autumn had settled in, bringing with it an aura of melancholy that seeped into the solitude of her home. The sharp sound of the doorbell broke the serenity of the environment, causing Elsa to slightly rise from her armchair. Who could be knocking at her door amidst that storm? Upon opening the door, her eyes encountered an unexpected and emotional sight. There, standing before her, was her daughter Cecilia, soaked to the bone, holding a small girl who was shivering from the cold. Elsa's heart tightened at the sight of them. "May I come in, Mum?" Cecilia's voice sounded fragile. Elsa, still perplexed by her daughter's sudden appearance, opened the door. Cecilia, the daughter heir to her heart, had been absent for 5 long years, since the day when a heated argument, driven by Cecilia's reckless lifestyle choice, had severed the ties that bound them. A life of excesses and indulgences, far from what Elsa considered safe and proper. In that moment of misunderstanding, Cecilia decided to carve her own path, cutting all contact with her family. But as she went her way, a painful void settled into Elsa's life, a void that became even more palpable with the sudden departure of her beloved husband, a victim of a heart attack that took him far from her. Alone in her grief and worry, Elsa wondered incessantly about the whereabouts of her lost daughter. And then, as if time had taken a sudden twist, Cecilia returned to her mother's door, holding a small child in her arms. "Cecilia, my dear, who is this girl?" Elsa's voice was choked, laden with a mix of emotions overflowing from her soul. "This is Isabel, my daughter. Can we stay here tonight?" Cecilia's response came with a simple request, but one that carried the complexity of years of separation. With an emotional smile, Elsa responded affirmatively. Having her daughter back home and discovering that she now also had a granddaughter was an indescribable emotion, a happiness that multiplied in her heart. She held the little girl named Bianca in her arms, feeling a wave of nostalgia and tenderness as she observed the child's face, so similar to her own daughter's when she was still a fragile and defenseless baby. At that moment, Elsa knew she would do everything in her power for that little girl. An instinctive love blossomed in her heart. While Cecilia enjoyed a warm bath to dispel the cold, Elsa busied herself preparing a bath for little Bianca. Contemplating that small life before her, Elsa felt a wave of tenderness that overflowed her heart, a connection that went beyond words. Bianca was her granddaughter, a part of her own essence. The woman rummaged through the closet in search of clothes she had kept as mementos of Cecilia's early years. Seeing her granddaughter Bianca wearing those clothes that once belonged to her daughter, felt as if the bond between her and Bianca was strengthening, uniting past and present. That night, her daughter and granddaughter occupied Cecilia's old room. Feeling her daughter under the same roof, knowing she was safe and protected, was a relief to Elsa's heart. When the first rays of sun timidly pierced through the curtains, Elsa awoke to the sound of her granddaughter's cry echoing from the next room. She waited for a few moments, anticipating that her daughter, Cecilia, would respond to Bianca's call. However, as the crying persisted, Elsa began to worry. Could Cecilia be so exhausted that she hadn't awakened to her own daughter's cries? Determined to check, Elsa got out of bed, ready to investigate the situation. Perhaps Cecilia needed a bit more rest, and Elsa was willing to take responsibility for caring for her granddaughter. She found the door ajar and entered the room, where an unsettling surprise awaited her. Little Bianca was lying on the bed, her eyes still wet with tears. Beside her, a note, a silent message left by Cecilia, who had once again departed in search of her own path. Her heart tightened as she read the handwritten words. Her daughter had chosen to leave again, but this time she left behind not just a worried mother, but also a defenseless child. Despite the pain and uncertainty surrounding her, Elsa knew she needed to be strong, to to be the anchor of stability for her granddaughter. After her husband's departure, Elsa's financial situation became a constant challenge. Working as a seamstress in a small workshop, she barely managed to cover basic expenses, and with Bianca's arrival and the added responsibility of raising another life, Elsa knew she would have to adapt her life to meet the needs of the little one who now depended on her. She sought a new job as a cleaner at a local school. Although it required more physical effort, this job provided her with a more stable income and, most importantly, guaranteed Bianca a scholarship at that same institution. Years went by, and Elsa took on the responsibility of educating and caring for Bianca with dedication and love. No sacrifice seemed too great when it came to providing what was necessary for the girl's development and happiness. Reviewing her own journey as a mother and the possible shortcomings in raising her daughter Cecilia, Elsa strove to do things differently this time. Raising her granddaughter was not just a responsibility. It was a gift, a second chance. As adolescence approached, a new dynamic began to unfold in Elsa and Bianca's life. The school where Elsa worked and her granddaughter attended was a prestigious institution, frequented by youths from affluent families. Bianca, fearing judgment and potential ridicule from her new friends if they discovered her connection to the school cleaner, found herself at a crossroads. On one particular occasion, while a group of teenagers made malicious comments about Elsa, Bianca felt tempted to join them, hoping to blend in and avoid them discovering her link to the school employee. For Elsa, witnessing this was a painful revelation. Was Bianca following in her mother Cecilia's footsteps, becoming indifferent to her own family? She wondered if her own failings as a mother were repeating themselves, if her attempts to educate Bianca were in vain. As Bianca's graduation approached, marking the end of an important phase in her life, her granddaughter ended the year with excellent grades, with the brilliant prospect of a scholarship at a renowned university. A promising future awaited Bianca, and Elsa couldn't be more proud of her. Bianca had been chosen to give the closing speech on behalf of the students. She could hardly wait to be present at the ceremony, applauding and witnessing her granddaughter's success. However, an unexpected request from Bianca was about to bring a shadow of sadness over the occasion. "Grandma, remember that none of my friends can know that I am your granddaughter. Please be discreet and don't show that we know each other, all right?" the young girl asked. She agreed with a silent nod, determined to support her granddaughter in the best possible way, even if it meant staying in the shadows and hiding the true bond that united them. On the day of the graduation, Bianca was ready for the big event. The students were instructed to arrive earlier for a rehearsal. She said goodbye to her grandmother, recalling the request for discretion they had agreed upon. While waiting for a taxi on the street, a neighbor approached with a warm smile. "You look beautiful, Bianca. Today is your big day, isn't it? Your grandmother talks so much about how proud she is of you. You know, you have an amazing grandmother. Not everyone would be willing to take on the responsibility of raising a child, especially at an older age. She's always tried to provide you with everything you need. It's evident how much she loves you. You must be very proud of her, right?" said the neighbor with sincere appreciation. At that moment, the taxi arrived, interrupting the conversation. Bianca thanked the neighbor with a nod and left for her graduation, carrying with her the woman's words. Sometime later, Elsa also left for the graduation. She put on her best clothes, carefully selected from her few options, and wore a pair of shoes borrowed from a neighbor. Although a bit too large, those shoes were all she had for the occasion. They would serve well enough for the special night ahead. Elsa took the subway to the event's location, but as she exited the station, she faced something she hadn't expected: a storm. She waited, hoping the rain would ease, but the stubborn clouds persisted, and the time for the graduation was quickly approaching. There was no other option. Elsa would have to face the rain. With hurried steps, she began walking through the streets, seeking shelter under the building awnings while trying to protect herself from the torrential rain. When she finally spotted the event's location, she was already soaked to the bone. It was just a matter of crossing the street to get there. However, in a moment of carelessness, one of her shoes slipped off her foot and was swept away by the current running along the curb. Elsa watched helplessly as the shoe disappeared down the drain. With no other option, she arrived at the location with only one shoe, deciding to abandon it once and for all. Elsa's soaked and barefoot figure entering the auditorium elicited laughs and comments from those present, but she remained undeterred. Her determination to support her granddaughter was greater than any weather-related setback. Bianca, already seated, spotted her grandmother arriving from afar, attracting curious and mocking glances. As the graduation ceremony unfolded, Elsa watched huddled in a corner, observing with silent pride the unfolding events. The awaited moment had arrived, Bianca's speech. Everyone was about to be surprised by the young woman's words. Bianca stood on the stage with her speech written on a sheet of paper. As she was about to begin, her neighbour's words about her grandmother struck her like an avalanche. "Good evening, everyone," Bianca began, her firm and clear voice echoing through the auditorium. "Today marks the end of a cycle and the beginning of a new journey for all of us. We are preparing to enter university, following in the footsteps of those who have inspired us. For many, this inspiration might come from a father, a mother, or even a renowned professional. But today I want to talk about my own inspiration." There was a dramatic pause as Bianca looked at the audience before continuing with conviction. "Many of you might know my inspiration only as the janitor of this school, but to me she is much more than that. To me, she is my grandmother." At this moment, Bianca made an inviting gesture, and Elsa was called to the stage. "My inspiration for the future is my grandmother," declared Bianca, her eyes shining with emotion. "Her character, her dedication, her selflessness and love are examples that I will carry with me forever. No matter the profession I choose or the path I follow, I know that by following her footsteps, I will have a bright future. Many times my grandmother has deprived herself of things so that I could have them. Today it's my turn to repay that love and sacrifice." With a simple but meaningful gesture, Bianca approached her grandmother, and in front of everyone present removed her own shoes. A reverent silence fell over the auditorium as she knelt and gently placed the shoes on her grandmother's feet. While everyone in attendance applauded, Elsa and Bianca left the stage together. Proud. A powerful lesson was learned by Bianca that day. By taking pride in, recognizing and honoring the sacrifices made by those around us, we cultivate a deep gratitude and respect for the bonds that unite us. This gratitude strengthens us, inspires us to be better, and motivates us to give back the love and support we have received. If you enjoyed, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment with a number from 1 to 5 to let us know how much you liked the story. Also, watch the video that is currently on your screen. See you soon.